Oh, hello, fellow gorehounds. I'm the horror guru,
Comedy of the Year!
and this is Count Jackula.
Comedy of the Year!
And he has lost his damn mind. Actually, the truth is, he, much like me, just saw The Green Inferno, Eli Roth's loving tribute to cannibal movies like Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox, and everything therein. My God. Jack thought it was hilarious, and it is hilarious, but here's the funny thing about this movie. Much like Eli Roth's other movies, I noticed that while a lot of horror fans see the comedy in them, and the comedy that is present in the filmmaking and in the movies, most normal people are too horrified to notice it, so they don't realize that there are things to laugh at, because it has a very dark sense of humor. I think the movie just ringed Jack. If you can't tell, we fucking love this movie.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
This movie was fucking
Whoa.
amazing. Oh my god. This is a breath of fucking fresh air. This is a hard R, nasty,
Oh my god.
violent, just gory as shit cannibal. This is one of the best cannibal movies I've ever seen.
Oh, spoilers. People get eaten.
For two reasons. Everything that you thought in some of the cannibal movies, like Cannibal Holocaust, kind of lives up to its name. But if you thought like you wanted more graphic shit to happen, this is the movie for you. Like there is a extended sequence where a man is just being ripped apart limb by limb while the people eat and roast him.
Oh my god, yeah. Slow roast that fucker.
And on top of that, you feel real bad when it happens.
Oh yeah.
It was one of the nicest characters in the entire group, and he gets it the worst.
Yeah.
Oof. Oh god, it's vicious. It is no holds barred.
Oh man, no.
So, for those of you who haven't been following the marketing or the production of this movie, The Green Inferno essentially follows a college girl who gets wrapped up with an activism group.
College activism group.
Who have decided that they're going to go out to the Amazon to stop essentially the destruction of the rainforest, and as well as the the killing.
The killing of the indigenous people.
Indigenous people. That's the word I was looking for. Indigenous. The killing of the indigenous people. So they go there and they successfully do this. They successfully stop the ravaging of the forest for the time being. But on their way back, their plane crashes into the Amazon, at which point they get taken in by the indigenous people who then proceed to eat them alive.
Yeah.
And
because part of them going in is disguising themselves as the workmen. So when the cannibals find the workmen who've been killing them off, they're just like, eat those fuckers.
A lot of
eat them up, yum yum yum.
Just and cannibalism is just kind of the beginning.
Man, dude, these people. They're so happy to be eating people.
My God.
It's amazing.
You could tell that this is just life for them.
Yeah, they're just like, we got white man for
white meat! We're eating white meat! They don't speak any lick of English. It's not one of those movies where they just...
no translation whatsoever.
No, they are obviously speaking their native tongue. I don't know if it's their actual native tongue, because Eli Roth, when he shot this movie, actually went to the rainforest, found a group of indigenous people, and worked with them to film the movie. So they're actually people dressed as they would normally be in the movie.
Yeah.
But essentially playing these cannibals. So, for all I know, they could be using their actual language. I don't know.
They could be. They could also have gotten every line in the script wrong. We would never know.
We would never know. It wouldn't know. Like, I don't know. They could be speaking Parisian for all I know. But I'm assuming not, because they're supposed to be like...
No, they probably have their own language.
Exactly.
You know. Oh god, the leader of the tribe. Oh, holy crap. Like, it's just, some of you have probably seen like the image of this woman with like this necklace through her
She's
nose.
like a cross between like a voodoo witch doctor and like Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. That's what she kind of looks like. But she's way more menacing than either.
Oh yeah.
And voodoo witch doctors could be fucking terrifying.
Oh god, yeah. Like she's obviously like the tribal leader.
Oh my god,
shaman.
She was badass. I loved her. Every time she was on screen, she commanded that screen to the point where I'm like, is that one of the people or did they hire an actress? Because she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's fucking amazing.
Yeah, she gets so into it. Just
So, like, I want to know whether that was an actress or not. I should have probably looked that up, but I didn't. But, like, that...
Oh, man.
She was exceptional.
So good.
And oh, God. And one thing to note about this movie is, because of the marketing campaign, this has kind of been labeled the anti-social justice movie. And to a certain extent, it is critical of social justice.
Very critical.
Types. But it is not, like, damning them completely. Its sympathies still lie with them, but it also recognizes that the world is a little more complicated and a little more vicious and really doesn't care.
Yeah.
About your sympathy or empathy.
Which is kind of the most damning goddamn thing you could do. You're like, oh no, you're sweet kids. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And as shown by the fact that they go to save these people and then these people end up eating them. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know? So in a way, you could almost call it nihilistic, but it's actually it's surprisingly hopeful in the end.
It is surprisingly hopeful
for everything that happens in the end. It's just like, yeah, but we can still make a change. Like, it's like, whoa,
yeah. We can still make a change if we're like really super underhanded about it, you know.
All right, I don't think we can continue talking about the movie without getting to spoilers, so for now, let's just stick it with
look, if you want to see this movie, us talking about this movie is not going to deter you.
Absolutely.
You're still going to enjoy it. And if you aren't going to see this movie, then no spoiler is going to convince you otherwise.
Absolutely. For me, you like Cannibal Holocaust, you like Cannibal Ferox, you like any of those knockoffs, then this is the tribute movie for you. You like Eli Roth, you like Hostel, you like Cabin Fever, then this is also the movie for you. If you're the kind of person who's kind of been tired of the more slow-paced, like, suspenseful horror movies and kind of miss the more visceral ones, then this is the horror movie for you.
Oh, yeah.
If you're one of those people who thinks that visceral horror movies aren't horror movies, then fuck off, first off. And second off, this is not for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so go see Green Inferno. We recommend it. And now, spoilers! Okay, so, where do we start?
Holy shit, let's start anywhere. All right, so when they're going into the jungle, the first moment where I was like, this moment is hilarious to me because it just set it up. They pass a jaguar on the way in, and the guy's like, "That is a jaguar. He is the guardian of nature and also of the land of the dead. This is a good omen." And I'm sitting there as a mythologist going, seeing the psychopomp is never a good omen. It's always bad.
And it is.
It is bad.
It is bad. It is bad. But what I like about that setup is that it sets off that it is the one that passes judgment on the sinners.
Yes.
And all that stuff.
Yes,
so,
because that's what a psychopomp is. A psychopomp judges the dead and drags them to the underworld.
Absolutely. So what this does is, once you see him, it's kind of like for better way of putting it, because of the type of movie it is, it really doesn't have the equivalent of like the crazy kook in a slasher movie.
No, the crazy kook is basically the jaguar.
Yeah, the jaguar is essentially the omen.
Turn back! I gotta warn you. You know.
But they don't. They obviously don't listen. They go in anyway, and you know what happens. Well, you will know what happens.
Yeah. So first of all, a bunch of people die in the plane crash.
Yes,
just right off the bat.
Which
pilot gets skewered.
Oh my god, his face. He gets pezzed.
Yeah,
he gets pezzed. And that sounds real funny, but that was one of the few kills that actually really like. Whoa,
yeah, that was the one that was shocking.
I jumped when it happened. There's a couple
as opposed to the girl who falls like 30 seconds later,
which was timed completely as a joke, and that is such an Eli Roth thing to do.
Man,
I
loved that.
And the funny thing is, like, some of the audience, like, I was paying attention to the audience around us when we were watching it. Some of the things that we, as horror buffs and who kind of like this stuff, found funny, they were more horrified by. So it works both ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like when she went splat, like, to us, it was the perfect punchline to the joke. To everyone else, it was like, oh my god, like, it was another jump.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh god.
And
that's so funny.
And
they find out that the guy who's taking them on this excursion to save the rainforest, it turns out he actually works for a rival development company.
Yeah.
And that's all he's doing.
He's not. He is teaming up with the rival company in order to boost his environmental thing.
Yeah.
So he's literally teaming up with the enemy in order to take out another one. Kind of like the enemy of my enemy is your friend kind of situations. Yeah. But what that means is that he's been lying this whole time. He is going to still bulldoze the rainforest. He's just stopping them from bulldozing it as much. Like,
yeah, he's stopping these guys because they're not paying
So the
him.
entire like setup they do where they go into the rainforest, they chain themselves to the trees and the equipment and have guns pointed at their head. It was all a publicity stunt in order to get one company taken out so the other one can come in.
Yep. Yep.
And what the other part of that publicity stunt is to make his social justice like activism organization that he has created to get it like on the map so that they both benefit from it, even though he's helping the enemy by doing that.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
It's one of those moments where it's a little more complicated than you think it is. Like some people are not as good as they think. They're in it for some other reasons.
Yeah, like
even the main character.
Oh yeah, even the main character.
Even the main character, like she makes the mistake of kind of getting into it because the guy is really attractive.
Yep.
Like that's her initial thing, but she also cares about the thing, cares about the environment, and cares about the issues. But it's very clear that the main reason she's sucked in is from the sexy charisma.
Charisma of the dude and the fact that she cares about her caring.
Yes, she cares about her caring, which is
she's even got like the girl who would be like the slutty goth character in the horror movie is like her roommate who's just constantly telling her this is the worst idea ever.
Even she is kind of presented as a bit of a dick for that.
Yeah.
You know, even though in the end she is kind of right.
100% correct.
But she is presented as a dick. So it's like all sides of this kind of discussion going on online is kind of presented, and they're all presented in all their flaws.
Yeah.
And also there's like a lot of commentary about the arrogance of us as Westerners thinking that we know better than the indigenous people and their way of life. Yeah. Even though that is their way of life.
And there's a commentary on the way it's done online versus the way it's done in real life.
Yes.
Which is you get to the end and she's giving her testimony to like these UN lawyers. They already know everything.
Yeah.
They already know everything about the tribe. They know about the companies. Like all they had to do was talk to them and they didn't.
Yep. The whole oh man, this is a really fucking
oh my god,
this is a breath of fresh air for two reasons. Number one, this kind of movie, this kind of like no holds barred horrifying movie, as opposed to like creepy scary movie. There's creepy scary movies, which is stuff like Blumhouse, who released this movie, normally does. It's like the Sinisters, it's like the Insidious and the Conjurings. But then there are movies that just straight up horrify you on a deep level. And that's what this movie does.
Yeah, this is a lot closer to that.
You know, and I've been missing those kind of movies. But the other thing I really appreciated about it was I kind of appreciate a movie that actually took some of the bullshit we've been dealing with online day in and day out to task, while also being a pretty fair to it.
Yeah.
It's not bad to think about helping people.
Yeah, it's not bad about think about helping people, but god damn it, you got to be fucking smart about it.
Absolutely.
You know, don't be an idiot.
Absolutely.
You know, don't just believe what people tell you.
This movie is very condemning of things like Coney 2012. You know,
an
example of a situation where everyone got up on their high horse, got up on their social justice reins, and it turned out they were all being bullshitted the whole time. It was all fake. It was all a ruse, and everyone bought into it, and everyone got into the obsession with accusing everyone else of being lesser people. Like, you're a bad person if you don't care about Coney. But it turns out that it was bullshit to begin with.
Of course you didn't care about Coney.
Are you still a bad person because you didn't care? Like, or because you didn't buy into it immediately, you know?
Yeah.
And this movie's very condemning of that kind of stuff. God,
dude, starting from the first moment of cannibalism, the movie does not really let up.
No, it does not.
It just keeps going. Dude, they fucking
there are times
watching that first guy die, like that is the fucking special effects centerpiece of the movie.
God, like Greg Nicotero and K&B Effects did that felt like they were just like showing off.
Oh, they were totally showing off, because it's one of those things where you're like, it reached that moment in like Cannibal Holocaust where if you didn't know it was a special effect, because Greg Nicotero was there, you'd be like, they killed that guy.
Because there were shot the way it was edited together, and there were shots, and like even like some of the severed limbs, the way the severed limbs were kind of stiff and limp at the same time, like felt real. Like that felt like a real dead body.
It did.
You know, when they cut off his head and his head is the way it is, like that looked like a real body. And a lot of times in horror movies, when you see severed heads, like there's this bit, there's like an uncanny valley effect that happens a lot.
Yeah.
When they have the fake, I did not have that in this. I was like, that is a fucking severed head.
This ain't no Herschel Gordon Lewis bullshit. No,
that is a fucking severed head. Oh my god. It wasn't. It was an effect, but that's
a really good effect.
They tricked my fucking brain. Though on the downside, there is a couple CG effects in this that are a little iffy. The Jaguar, for example, is CG, but that one is relatively okay. The way they shoot it and the limited space they give that, it does not take you really out of the movie. But what did is there's a scene where one character gets devoured by fire ants. They essentially sacrifice him and they cover him in all this goop that
attracts the ants.
That attracts the ants, and the ants cover him and basically start eating him alive. The ants in that are a digital effect, a very obvious digital effect, and it was the one effect in the whole movie that started to take me out.
Yeah, it's the one that looks like
it is one effect. It is very short. They kind of, you could tell they kind of knew that it was not the greatest effect. Yeah. So they kept it as short as possible. But be forewarned, there is that in the movie. But other than that, everything else is fucking phenomenal. Even some of the scenes where, oh god, there is a scene where the main character is strapped to these wooden posts, and they're gonna perform their initiation rites.
Because
for women,
what they find out is the old shaman lady like comes out,
examines all the women,
and the main character bleeds because she's a virgin, and they never tell you this is how you find this out. She sticks this like,
and the funny thing is the way the movie presents it is that they never outright say, oh yeah, you're a virgin or whatever. It could just be that she cut her on the way in, but to the tribe she's a virgin.
And like she sees this and she gets really excited and she says a word and all the cannibals go ape shit. They're like, yeah, virgin meat, woo! And they're obviously near the end. She's gonna circumcise her.
Yeah. And that scene, oh my god, there were times where I'm like, oh my god, I gotta look away. It started to get too intense. I started to feel like anxiety, like
that girl. Because that girl cries and screams really well.
For two reasons. Number one, the main character you really grow to like in this movie. You really grow to care for her. Not just because of her performance and who she is. Like, she's probably the most well-rounded as a person in this movie, despite her flaws.
Yeah, definitely.
But she's also, like, even on a superficial level, just her eyes beg empathy.
Yeah, they kind of do.
They kind of pull it out of you. She just got these beautiful, like, just cinematic eyes, and when you look into them, you're like, oh my god, like, don't cry. Like, just
but see, my problem is I'm an asshole. I wanted everyone to get I had just been like, yeah, kill her anyway.
So, like, that scene is happening, and, like, she's prepared. She's like, no, don't do it, whatever. I'm just like, oh, God, I think I gotta look away. Like, I, as a seasoned horror vet who fucking loves movies like a Serbian film, was like, I gotta look away.
I am a psychotic asshole. Because I was just like, yeah, cut her, kill her, eat her.
Well, there were scenes where I was like that. When they started eating, there's a scene. One of their plans to escape from the cannibals that they try is one of their friends commits suicide because they just can't handle it.
They can't handle it anymore. They killed her girlfriend and then tricked her into eating her.
Yeah. They killed her girlfriend and tricked her into eating her girlfriend, and on top of that, she's a vegan, so it's too much for her. And she was already established in the movie as having anxiety problems. Like, she actually takes pills for her anxiety, and she didn't have pills anymore, and things were just getting worse and worse, so she just offs herself.
Yeah, she just cuts her neck, like,
it becomes
open.
Too much, and she can't handle it. So, before the cannibals discover her body, because they know that, like, as they do with all the dead bodies, they're going to eventually eat her. The stoner who had bought some weed off of the
leader.
The leader.
Bought it off the leader.
Yeah, bought it off the leader guy. Actually, it was their contact who turns out to be the guy who represents the company.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was the guy he got the weed from. So he bought weed off that guy, and he stuck it into his boot because they were going to fly on a plane and fly on the way back, and he didn't want to deal with customs. But then he remembers he has that in there. So what he plans to do, because the way they cook the meat is they put it into this in this little oven, and then the smoke rises up, and when they go to eat it, they all like surround it and they pull it out. So they stuck the bag of weed into her body and just shoved it in before the cannibals found the body, so that when they cook it, the entire village just fills with weed smoke, and while they're eating the meat is smoked with the weed.
Yeah.
So all the cannibals get really high, and their plan is, well, maybe if they're really high, we can escape. We can distract them and get the fuck out of here.
And the answer is almost.
And they almost do, but like motherfucking asshole guy who led them there fucks them over. Motherfucking asshole guy who basically, when they were escaping, he takes one of the excess needles that they use, the little darts that they shoot to
they use like knockout darts.
Yeah, and he takes one of those and he stabs one of the guys as he's escaping. It's just like, I'm not letting you all leave without me, because he doesn't want, if he's gonna be, because his plan is to stay there until this new construction crew are going to arrive.
Right.
But they want to escape because they don't think they're going to survive that long. So while they're escaping, he stabs one of the other guys, and he's just like, I'm not being left here alone. Because I need someone for them to eat. If they're hungry.
And at that point, like, everyone else is like, well, we got to just
They're already at the cage,
yeah.
and trying to go back in for him will mean a confrontation, and they can't. So they just leave, and they leave him in there. And asshole guy puts the guy outside of the cage. So the cannibals find him, and then they have cannibal munchies.
Yeah, they eat that guy raw.
They rip him fucking apart. It is straight up Day of the Dead shit.
Yeah.
Like, it is a... Ooh,
I fucking love that shot where the cannibals are all surrounding him, and they're just, like, tearing him apart. It's really super graphic.
And the thing is that this movie has a lot of symmetry. Things will happen, and things that mirror it later will come back. Throughout the entire movie, this happens, and the scene where they're ripping him apart is very reminiscent of when they first enter the village, and they're just like, they're just feeling everyone, like, ooh, she's smooth, or like, like or ooh, blonde hair, like they were doing that to them, and so they kind of brought that back, but in this case, it's a lot more vicious.
Yeah, just so they eat him alive, and all of a sudden, like, little cannibal girl runs out with the guy's leg. I was just like,
that scene was hilarious.
I was so funny,
and that was one of the that was a scene where, even though I love the stoner guy, he was a really good guy, who was a little in over his head. I was sitting there going like, yeah, eat them. Yeah.
Dude, so I forget which character it was. I don't think it was the first one. I think it was one of the others, where like the assistant witch doctor like pulls one of the legs off. It is like Make-A-Wish, tear this guy apart. You're just like, oh my.
There's a whole lot of that.
Oh, wow.
When the assistant witch doctor is eating just that bone of that guy's leg.
Oh, my God. Yeah. He's got the whole leg. He's just gnawing on the fucking, like...
He's obviously, like, the head of, like, their military. Like,
Like, the war chief.
He's, like, the war chief, and then they have, like, the shaman leader, who is essentially that woman. The old lady. Jesus fucking Christ. This movie's brutal as shit.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like you actually feel bad for just about everybody that with the exception of the complete asshole.
Yeah, with the exception of the complete asshole.
The guy who led them in there is a complete asshole who tricked them all and is a complete prick. But everyone else, despite their flaws, they're all really good people who just want to do good, and you really feel bad because, like Fat Guy did not deserve to get fucking ripped apart.
No, Fat Guy did not deserve to die.
Not at all.
Just a really good dude.
And it just makes it
not even like the guide that they had.
Oh yeah.
The one who gets killed by the ants.
Yes.
Like he's fine person.
Absolutely. In fact, like he gets that vicious kill for trying to escape, and you're like,
yeah.
Ooh. And as annoying as fucking anxiety vegan chick was, like, she wasn't a bad person. Like, she was.
Yeah. They managed to, like, what he did was, he's like, look, I know that these two girls have been very unlikable because I've made them very unlikable. So I'm going to make you feel sympathy for them because I'm going to reveal that they're in love with each other.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you have a lot of empathy for them. And I'm watching it, I'm like, oh,
Their romance is their like connection to humanity, which makes the scene where she finds out that she's not only been eating her lover, she's also eating out of a bowl made out of her lover's skin.
Yeah.
And this is after revealing that she's a vegan and she doesn't eat meat in general, but she's got to because how else is she going to survive? And all the anxiety, she just kills herself.
Yeah, she just offs herself,
which is another very great effect. Like that.
Oh, that was
one of the more vicious. Like she slits her own throat, which is very effective, but a very vicious way to go.
Yeah. Usually, the funny thing is, usually we do something like that. Usually, like you do it slow.
Yeah.
But no, like she does it quick, and the blood just comes out.
It's a really great effect,
and it is really great because you totally believe it, and you're like, yeah, she's dead in 30 seconds. She's gone.
Yeah.
There's
absolutely
no comeback from that.
Was her girlfriend the one that we thought escaped, or because there was two girls that there was two girls that I mixed up a lot. The girlfriend. Oh wait, no, the girlfriend of the main guy gets killed by the arrows. That's right. Okay. Yeah. So the other part about the girlfriend thing is that you think that she escaped, because she successfully got out of the cage while no one was looking and ran to a boat and got in the boat. And that's the last you see of her until you find out that she's eating her.
Yeah.
And not only that, she's eating out of a bowl that's made out of her skin. And she looks outside and she realizes that because her girlfriend was all tattooed up, that those tattoos are showing up all across the village because people have made things out of the skin.
Yeah. They've already made shit out of her, and like little kids are playing with it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I love there's a bit at the end after like main character comes back, everything's cool, where she starts having nightmares that she's like eating people.
Yeah. And the cannibalism has affected her, which is a very horror movie thing.
Yeah.
Where the primal instinct, like by the end of it, you are as primal as the thing that you fought.
Yeah. Well, it's like that. It's like that line in Skyrim, like, yeah, it's okay. Sometimes you just gotta eat people.
Yes.
But what I loved about that is I'm like, oh, I get it, Eli. I wonder who the real cannibals are.
Absolutely. There is a lot of love lettering.
Oh god, so much love for Cannibal Holocaust.
But the funny thing is I was actually expecting way more like straight up ripping shots and things off from the Cannibal Holocaust. But he really didn't do. Like the closest he comes is like the shots of like when they come back to the plane crash site, when they actually do successfully escape at one point, and they get to successfully. They find the plane crash and they're trying to find the black box so that they can find a way to contact.
Yeah, trying to find the GPS. The GPS. That they can signal.
And they go back to the plane crash, and all the people who had died in the plane crash are all strung up on these poles.
They're all on poles. Some of them have the
very similar to like the poster and that iconic shot from Cannibal Holocaust. That is the one moment where I'm like, that is directly from Cannibal Holocaust. Even then, it was presented completely differently. So it's like,
well, it's like how to put it. Like this whole movie is just beautiful.
Yeah,
it is just
it's a gorgeous movie.
Beautiful. And you could tell like Eli Roth is like, look, there are going to be two colors in this movie, green and red.
Yes,
because
it is the Green Inferno. Which, in case you don't get it from that title, the Green Inferno is essentially, it essentially means that the jungle, the Green Inferno, it's jungle like a flame will eat you alive, it will devour you. And the title is actually taken from the working title of Cannibal Holocaust while they were shooting the movie. So it was originally called The Green Inferno, and then they changed it to Cannibal Holocaust. So when Eli decided to make his tribute to those movies and all the knockoffs, he decided to call it The Green Inferno. Yeah. And it's very apt, because this movie does present the jungle.
I think about the only trope that he did... the only trope that he didn't do that comes from those movies is like the cannibal girl sex scene.
Oh yeah,
that's like the one thing that didn't happen.
Yeah. There really is no there's not even like a rape.
Yeah,
surprisingly, there's no rape in this cannibal movie.
Yeah. That's usually your go-to,
and it's obvious that in place of that he put kind of like that castration thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure there's a cannibal movie that did that, but this one is way better.
Yeah, way better. Cannibal Ferox had like the cannibal hand job sequence. Yeah. Like that was weird.
Yeah.
It's like she gives him a hand job, and then later on he rapes her, and then everyone kills her, and then they what the fuck?
Well, like unlike Cannibal Holocaust, like you actually do care about most of these
Yeah,
people.
yeah. And unlike a lot of those other movies, it's actually very well scripted, very well constructed.
Oh god, it really is. Like this is a movie where everything. Pay attention to the beginning of this movie because things come back either thematically or they're mirrored.
Like when the girl actually, the thing that actually saves the girl in the end is the jaguar.
Yeah,
the
jaguar lets her pass, and the villagers that are hunting her realizes that the jaguar is about to pass judgment, so they
so they're just like, all right, so we'll back off because you're the Lord of the Jungle.
And also the ultimate savior of her when she finally gets out of the jungle, because like is the very construction worker.
Yeah, the construction worker she came to stop. Yeah,
and even then, at the end of the movie, when they asked her what happened, she lies about the whole thing and presents it as the cannibal saving her.
Yeah.
In order to continue to protect the rainforest and get those fuckers out of there, so they stop chopping it up. Like, even in the end, she still protects the forest, and I thought that was an amazing ending.
Yes.
That despite it all, she's like, well, I guess sometimes you just gotta lie.
Yep.
In order to protect the. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really great. God. I don't know how I feel about that. At the end of the movie, there's like a
that fucking
sequel
bait stinger in the credits. That didn't even feel like the movie.
I don't know for people who saw this at festivals whether or not that was originally in the movie, but it felt like a very Blumhouse.
It felt like a Blumhouse edition.
I don't know if it was. If it was, let us know in the comments so we'll know.
Yeah.
But
please, someone tell us.
It felt a little unnecessary to me. I'm if they make a sequel and Eli's on board and they go full bore with it, rock on. But it felt a little tacked on.
It felt really tacked on.
Because up until that point, it felt like the movie had
it's like I think I found my brother. He's still alive. And my first thought is, he had a sister?
Yeah.
Since when?
Yeah. In a movie that constantly has things come back and a whole lot of like symmetry going on, it feels very weird not to mention the sister.
Yeah, exactly.
Earlier in the movie. So yeah, that part I'm a little iffy on, but it's not as bad as like the sinister jump cut ending.
Jump scare ending. God!
It's not as bad as that.
Good, the thing.
And plus, it's right after the credits. So
yeah. So it's like essentially the movie's already over.
Yeah.
So you can avoid it. So once those credits start rolling, feel free to leave the theater.
And I'm like stretching to find things to complain about in this movie.
Yeah.
I had such a great time.
Yeah, no, this movie's amazing. This movie is so
and the acting's fantastic. Like everybody, I bought everybody.
Yeah.
Even the fucking cannibals, and you'd think like a cannibal tribe of people that aren't really actors. Well, they're just gonna come across as stiff as shit. No, like
no, he got them to do what he needed them to.
They're great.
Even like the little boy that she makes friends.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's a whole subplot where
that's how she escapes.
She had a necklace that I think her mom got her.
Yeah, her mom gave her a necklace.
Mom gave her this necklace that is a
little flute.
It's a little flute because she was a flutist.
Yeah, she's a flautist in high school.
And she has this little flute necklace that she keeps around her at all times because it reminds her of her mom. And when she's in the village, this one little boy takes a shining to it because it's nice and shiny. And so she starts to befriend him by playing it. And in the end, he's ultimately the person who gets her out of the village.
Yeah.
And it's this nice little subplot. You've seen it in a lot of these kinds of movies where people kind of get captured with the little boy or the little girl or whatever who befriends the captor and then lets them go. You've seen that before, but it was done really well here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was done very nicely.
God, that movie was an intense experience.
It was.
I feel like I just got pummeled in the fucking face, and it feels glorious.
It was amazing.
It's like a fucking mosh pit of a movie.
Oh God, yeah. Really good. The only, like I said, the only thing I really have to complain about is that I'm such a fucking asshole. I'm like, nah, kill the girl too. You know what? Kill the little kid and eat him too while we're at it. Why? Hey, why not?
Oh god, that was another beautiful image to me. When they put her in this like white makeup, which is obviously the makeup they put all their young girls in when they go to perform the castration procedure, because it's clear that this is like a rite of passage for women in the village, and so they put her in like this white tribal makeup. Her running around and escaping the village in that makeup, like, was, even though it's like an intense and it's scary, it's like, get the fuck out of here. That was a really beautiful image.
Yeah. It looked really good. Well, it was also weird because, like, we're kind of wondering if you were like, are they going to spare her because she's a virgin?
Yeah, you're not.
I mean, spare means like they're going to totally like fucking like cut her vagina out, but still,
that much you knew that was going to happen. Yeah, that was set up earlier in the movie as something that was probably going to happen when they got there. Like when she's in that one women's rights class and they're talking about things they do in foreign countries. And like, obviously that's going to happen. Like,
yeah. The minute they're like female circumcision, I'm like, right, put that one on the list.
Put that one on the list. I didn't expect it to be a major plot point, but
it
happened.
Thought it was just something that's gonna happen. No, it's a big part of the movie.
Very big part of the movie. And when they started doing that to her, I'm like, okay, obviously they're gonna do that to her, but like, there's another part of me is like, well, maybe they'll impregnate her. Maybe they'll do like,
who knows?
I was like trying to like, there's so many plot threads or whatever, but
well, like I said, it's entirely possible. They're like, oh, well, she's a virgin, so we'll spare her.
Yeah, entirely.
It's also entirely possible that they were going to do something even worse to her.
Absolutely.
You know, they don't really tell you. All you know is that the witch, you know, the shaman, for some reason, is particularly delighted with this girl.
Yes.
But they never explain why.
They never really do. Which is good. There's a lot of things about the tribe that would not be explained unless, like, they unless they just really stopped the movie and had, like, the main characters understand more than they should.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so I kind of like that, because there should be parts about the tribe, because they are an indigenous tribe that, like, no one has seen before, or they have seen before but never, like, directly contacted. There should be parts about their culture that we just don't understand.
Yeah.
And I was very fine with that.
Yeah, I was super okay with that. It was super cool. I love the look of the shaman.
Oh my god.
Holy crap.
She is fucking
so
creepy, gorgeous, and commanding.
Yeah.
Every time she's on the screen, you're like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
You totally believe that this entire tribe is like, whatever you want.
You know, even the fucking creepy like war chief guy in like the black makeup and like the bone through his nose and like that guy. Even that guy, you're like, no, you don't command the screen nearly as much as she does.
No.
You know, like you're like a blunt force weapon. Like, you're a good tool to hit people with, but you do not have like that control over the people.
Yeah. He wasn't as the shaman's just completely intimidating.
Yes.
It's just this little woman. She's just so fucking intimidating.
God, like the scene where, not cannibal related, but the scene where they're actually like chaining themselves up and like her lock isn't working, and she finds out the lock wasn't working because the guy sabotaged it.
Yeah.
He planned the whole thing to happen this way. And so they pull her from the tree and they put a gun to her head and basically like everyone stop this or we'll shoot her, basically, kind of situation. That scene was surprisingly fucking intense.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god, like just the image of her sitting there like, and the gun's at her head. I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, they draw that shit out too.
Yeah.
That takes a good couple of minutes.
Like that scene was surprisingly intense. Like even before they get to the cannibals, you know.
Yeah. All build up to lunchtime, essentially.
Lunchtime.
God,
which I think is like the midpoint of the movie.
It is
that first cannibal.
It is. It takes a while, but that's because once it starts, it just...
Lesson there is don't be a fat guy and go into the Amazon. Terrible idea.
So you're not going.
I'm not going. No. Fat guy shouldn't do anything that's horror related. Like, you're never gonna make it through the movie.
Yeah.
Problem with being a fat guy in a horror movie is that everyone can run faster than you, so you're just kind of fucked.
Well, unless... I guess that's even true for Leatherface.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's his downfall as well. Oh, she's... Oh.
No. Poor Leatherface. He just wants love.
Yeah.
No, like when he's got that chainsaw dick and two.
And he's also a cannibal.
This is true. This is true.
Oh, man. Oh, we should probably end this.
Yeah, we can go on. We can go on. We've been doing this since we fucking left the theater.
Yeah. Whoa.
And there's probably stuff that we wanted to say that we've completely spaced out on, but whatever. I think you get the idea. Green Inferno is a fucking awesome cannibal movie. It is probably gonna be my favorite movie of the year, unless something else happens, like, oh man, actually, Hateful Eight still has to come out. There are movies that could top it, but right now, so far, this is my favorite movie I've seen so far this year, and I give it 2 fucking thumbs up, and fuck yeah. Must you? Alright, give me a piece.